Hi, second grade, Mrs. Houts here, and welcome to math class. Today is Monday, September 21st, 2020. Today we begin a new chapter, Chapter 2, and our first lesson is titled Group Tens as Hundreds. Let's look at some base 10 blocks to figure out what that really means. So let's start by looking at our 10 block. Remember, our 10 block is the same thing as 10 ones. Because if we count this, we have 10 little squares that are put together into one 10 block. And then we're going to skip count 10 blocks all the way to 100. So let's skip count by 10 since there's 10 ones. Ready? 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So we have 100 right here. Let's count to see how many 10 blocks that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 blocks is the same thing as 100. So if we push all of these together, it looks like this, which I can trade out for a 100 block. This is a 100 block. If we were to take our 10 blocks and line them up, our 10 blocks would line up perfectly on top of the 100 block. Like that. And if we were to take 1 blocks, 100 1 blocks would line up on here. So that means that 100 ones is the same thing, is equal to 10 tens, which is the same thing or equal to 100. 100 ones is the same thing as 10 tens, which is the same thing as 100. Let's now take out our book and turn to page 57 and let's practice together. So you're on page 57 in your math book that has the colored pictures in it. On this page, it has a bunch of 1 blocks, and it says to circle groups of 10 and then count the groups of 10. So let's start by counting down this way to see how many ones blocks there are in each what's called column. So the column would be like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That is 1 column of 1 blocks. And there's 10 right there. So let's circle that. And if there's 10 in that column, that means there will be 10 in the next column, and then all the rest. So circle each column, each group of 10 1 blocks. So make sure you're doing this in your book with me. And now we have a bunch of groups of 10, and we're going to skip count by 10 to figure out our total. So we have 10, and you're welcome to write it at the top like me. 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So how many 1 blocks do we have right here? We have 100 1 blocks. And we circled groups of 10. Those are our 10 blocks. How many do we have? We have 10 of them. And then if we put this in a box, and that shows our hundreds block, how many hundreds blocks do we have? 1. Look at the next page, page 58, and we are going to continue practicing this. So look at that model and draw box at the top. It says 10 tens is the same as 100. So these 10 blocks that I'm circling, and you can circle too, is the same thing as this 100 block. So it says that on the side for us. 10 tens and 100 is the same thing and shows the number 100. Let's look at number 1. It says, write how many tens. Circle groups of tens. Write how many hundreds. Write that number. Or write the number, sorry. So and it's showing us in number 1, it said to circle groups of tens. This right here that I'm circling, that is 10 tens. This is the same thing. So this is also 10 tens. And remember, we can skip count to see how many we have. 10, 20, which means total of these 10 blocks, we have 20 of them. And remember, our 10 tens that we circle, that represents, that shows 100. 100. So we have 100, 200s. And writing that number in standard form would look like this. 200. Let's try the same thing with number 2. This time we have to circle the groups of tens. But you may notice there's a little space in between each group of 10. So circle your first group of 10 tens. So 10. Circle the next group of 10 tens. Now we have 20. And then the last group, now we have 30. So how many tens do we have? 30. And remember, this also shows 100, 100, 200s, 300s, 300s. So our number written in standard form would be 300. Go ahead and pause the video to try number 3 on your own. And when you're ready, unpause it to check your work. So we'll start by circling our groups of 10 tens. 10, 20, 30, 40. How many tens do we have? 40. And then our hundreds, remember our group of 10 tens equals 100. We have 100, 200, 300, 400s. So we would just write 4 right here. But if we write that number in standard form, it's going to say 400. Same thing, pause the video and try number 4. Unpause when you're ready to check your work. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So how many tens? 50 tens. And our 10 tens equal 100. So we have 100, 200s, 300s, 400s, 500 blocks, which written in standard form is the same thing as saying 500. So if you now look at this whole page, you can see that we went from 200 to 300 to 400 to 500. So we added a 100 block every time. Turn to page 60 and let's try one of the problem-solving problems together. So number 9, Mrs. Martin has 80 boxes of paper clips. There are 10 paper clips in each box. How many paper clips does she have? So let's circle important information. She has 80 boxes and there are 10 paper clips in each box. Let's underline what it's asking us. How many paper clips does she have? So if there are 10 paper clips in each box, we can show that using a base 10 block. So we can draw a quick picture, just a line to show the base 10 blocks. And remember, for every group of 10 blocks, let's circle it to remember that that's 100. So you can draw with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Circle that to remember that that's 10 blocks or 100. And then let's keep counting. So we have 10 blocks so far. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Circle it, 'cause that's another 100. Let's keep going all the way to 80. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. That's another 100. 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. That's another 100. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50. That's another 100. Can you keep going on your own? Pause the video. We're at 50 so far and we need to get to 80. When you're ready, unpause the video. So by the time you finish, you should have drawn 80 boxes of paper clips, which are shown with your base 10 blocks. But we circled our groups of 10 tens so that now we can skip count by 100 to figure out how many paper clips total does Mrs. Martin have. So let's skip count by 100. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800. So how many paper clips does she have? She has 800 paper clips. So for today's activity, you're going to take out your practice workbook. Remember, that's a different book than you're using right now. And complete pages P23 and P24. The first page will be practicing what you just learned. Filling in how many tens you have, how many hundreds you have. Remember, don't forget to circle your hundreds. And then writing your number in standard form. So how many you have if you were to think about it in ones. The second page is review. It's practicing everything that we have learned so far. So take your time on this. Don't worry if you're still a little confused. We'll be continuing to practice working with hundreds throughout this week. And I don't have office hours today, but I will have office hours tomorrow at 11:45 that you can come and we can continue practicing understanding hundreds. So take your time. and try your best. Thank you.